King Kong is a film monster, resembling an enormous gorilla, that has appeared in various media since 1933. Kong has been dubbed the eighth wonder of the world, a phrase commonly used within the films. The character first appeared in the novelization of the 1933 film King Kong from RKO Pictures, with the film premiering a little over 2 months later. The film received universal acclaim upon its initial release and re-releases. A sequel quickly followed that same year with The Son of Kong, featuring Little Kong. In the 1960s, Toho produced King Kong vs. Godzilla, 1962, pitting a larger Kong against Toho's own Godzilla, and King Kong Escapes, 1967, based on the King Kong Show, 1966 to 1969, from Rincon-based Productions. In 1976, Dino De Laurentiis produced a modern remake of the original film directed by John Guillermin. A sequel, King Kong Lives, followed a decade later featuring a Lady Kong. Another remake of the original, this time set in 1933, was released in 2005 from filmmaker Peter Jackson. The most recent film, Kong, Skull Island, 2017, set in 1973, is part of Legendary Entertainment's MonsterVerse, which began with Legendary's reboot of Godzilla in 2014. A crossover sequel, Godzilla vs. Kong, once again pitting the characters against one another, is currently planned for 2021. The character of King Kong has become one of the world's most famous movie icons, having inspired a number of sequels, remakes, spin-offs, imitators, parodies, cartoons, books, comics, video games, theme park rides, and a stage play. His role in the different narratives varies, ranging from a rampaging monster to a tragic anti-hero. The King Kong character was conceived and created by American filmmaker Merian C. Cooper. In the original film, the character's name is Kong, a name given to him by the inhabitants of the fictional Skull Island in the Indian Ocean, where Kong lives along with other oversized animals, such as plesiosaurs, pterosaurs and various dinosaurs. An American film crew, led by Carl Denham, captures Kong and takes him to New York City to be exhibited as the eighth wonder of the world. Kong escapes and climbs the Empire State Building, only to fall from the skyscraper after being attacked by airplanes with guns. Denham comments it wasn't the airplanes, it was Beauty killed the beast, for he climbs the building in the first place only in an attempt to protect Ann Darrow, an actress originally offered up to Kong on Skull Island as a sacrifice. In the 1976 remake, her character is named Juan. A pseudo-documentary about Skull Island that appears on the DVD for the 2005 remake, originally seen on the Sci-Fi Channel at the time of its theatrical release, gives Kong's scientific name as Megaprimatus Kong, Megaprimatus, deriving from the prefix mega and the Latin words primate and primatus, means big primate or big supreme being, and states that his species may be related to Gigantopithecus, though that genus of giant ape is more closely related to orangutans than to gorillas. Merian C. Cooper glances up at his creation. Merian C. Cooper became fascinated by gorillas at the age of 6. In 1899, he was given a book from his uncle called Explorations and Adventures in Equatorial Africa. The book, written in 1861, chronicled the adventures of Paul Duchaillu in Africa and his various encounters with the natives and wildlife there. Cooper became fascinated with the stories involving the gorillas, in particular, Duchaillu's depiction of a particular gorilla known for its extraordinary size, that the natives described as invincible and the king of the African forest. When Duchaillu and some natives encountered a gorilla later in the book, he described it as a hellish dream creature that was half man, half beast. As an adult, Cooper became involved in the motion picture industry. While filming The Four Feathers in Africa, he came into contact with a family of baboons. This gave him the idea to make a picture about primates. A year later, when he got to RKO, Cooper wanted to film a terror gorilla picture. As the story was being fleshed out, Cooper decided to make his gorilla giant-sized. Cooper stated that the idea of Kong fighting warplanes on top of a building came from him seeing a plane flying over the New York Insurance Building, then the tallest building in the world. He came up with the ending before the rest of the story, as he stated, "Without any conscious effort of thought, I immediately saw in my mind's eye a giant gorilla on top of the building." Cooper also was influenced by Douglas Burton's accounts of the Komodo dragon, and wanted to pit his terror gorilla against dinosaur-sized versions of these reptiles, stating to Burton, "I also had firmly in mind to giantize both the gorilla and your dragons to make them really huge. However, I always believed in personalizing and focusing attention on one main character, and from the very beginning I intended to make it the gigantic gorilla, no matter what else I surrounded him with." Around this time, Cooper began to refer to his project as a giant terror gorilla picture featuring a gigantic semi-humanoid gorilla pitted against modern civilization. When designing King Kong, Cooper wanted him to be a nightmarish gorilla monster. As he described Kong in a 1930 memo, "His hands and feet have the size and strength of steam shovels, his girth is that of a steam boiler. This is a monster with the strength of 100 men. But more terrifying is the head, a nightmare head with bloodshot eyes and jagged teeth set under a thick mat of hair, a face half beast half human." 19. Willis O'Brien created an oil painting depicting the giant gorilla menacing a jungle heroine and hunter for Cooper. However, when it came time for O'Brien and Marcel Delgado to sculpt the animation model, Cooper decided to backpedal on the half-human look for the creature and became adamant that Kong be a gorilla. O'Brien, on the other hand, wanted him to be almost human-like to gain audience sympathy, and told Delgado to make that tape almost human. Cooper laughed at the end result, saying that it looked like a cross between a monkey and a man with very long hair. For the second model, O'Brien again asked Delgado to add human features but to tone it down somewhat. The end result, which was rejected, was described as looking like a missing link. Disappointed, Cooper stated, "I want Kong to be the fiercest, most brutal, monstrous damn thing that has ever been seen." On December 22, 1931, Cooper got the dimensions of a bull gorilla from the American Museum of Natural History, telling O'Brien, "Now that's what I want." When the final model was created, it had the basic look of a gorilla but managed to retain some human-like qualities. For example, Delgado streamlined the body by removing the distinctive paunch and rump of a gorilla. O'Brien would incorporate some characteristics and nuances of an earlier creature he had created in 1915 for the silent short The Dinosaur and the Missing Link into the general look and personality of Kong, even going as far as to refer to the creature as Kong's ancestor. When it came time to film, Cooper agreed that Kong should walk upright at times, mostly in the New York sequences, in order to appear more intimidating.